rolling?
Now we are.
Nice.
Now we're going.
What's up?
Hello,
I don't know
hello,
why
hello.
I did that.
In case they're far away.
You do those things, you like immediately regret doing it. What's up? I don't even know what that was.
You know what, man? It's all right. I think someone who was watching this appreciated that.
I hope so.
Like one person out of the however many end up watching this.
So on the computer it lags a few seconds, so I just got to relive that moment too. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was.
All right.
That was quite enjoyable.
Glad to be here, everybody.
Quite enjoyable.
Thanks everybody joining us. I know that we don't have many people. We got a couple people on so far, but usually it'll just take a minute or two to grow. If you have any questions, sorry we didn't announce this one. We're getting into a better habit of posting when we'll be doing them, allowing you guys to ask questions and things like that. So it'll be a lot more organized. We really like these lives. It's cool to be able to interact with everybody and answer questions on the fly a little bit, and also answer questions. My word, I'm struggling.
What's wrong?
I'm just burping up a storm, and I'm like,
do you need some
probably
Tums?
Grossing everybody out. I think I'm okay. Sorry if I gross.
We don't have Tums anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that very empty offer then.
Anyway, some water.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Devin. No, so we're trying to get a little bit more organized with the lives that we're doing, so that people can anticipate on time and plan for it and things like that. Tyler put a poll in the community asking when the best time was for us to do these lives. We're planning on Mondays and Thursdays, but we're pretty flexible throughout the day, whether it's in the morning or later in the afternoon. So we want to find a time that works best for everyone. So go find that poll, search Pupford. I believe we posted through Pupford. So search Pupford and find one of our posts that has that poll in it. It was posted yesterday or this morning maybe.
This morning, I think. It's already got probably like 50 responses or so.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
So, but go in there and tell us when works best for you. You know, and if you don't see a time that works best, add a time there in the poll or comment below and let us know. And we just want to find a time that's going to work for everybody and make it really convenient for folks. And then, obviously, as usual, we will post it in the community afterwards. So even if you aren't here live, you will be able to watch it after the fact.
And one thing we're working on as well is we're going to be putting these live videos up afterwards as well in a more kind of permanent location, probably on YouTube, as well as on the Pupford website. So it'll be an additional place that you can go back and watch and say, you know, we're going to line out, okay, at 21 minutes we were talking about puppy biting, and so you can go and get a little bit more information and resources there after the fact as well. So without further ado, we have Divyesh in here. What's up, Divyesh? He said, glad to see you guys back. We'll make sure to vote on the poll. Thanks.
Nice.
Thank you.
We'll just say thanks to everybody for being in the community. You know, we appreciate everybody's interaction in there. We appreciate everybody continuing to be kind to each other and continuing to support each other. Raising a puppy can be really hard. And we see... We covered this on the last couple lives, but like we see a lot of people having questions about like, holy cow, am I the only one who feels this terrible right now? Because
am I the only one who doesn't want my dog right now?
No, seriously, you see that. Like puppyhood is hard. It's really hard. Like you're missing on sleep. You're missing you're getting your clothes bitten. Your fingers are probably bloody, and you're cleaning up potty off the floor. There's like
every day.
It's not super glorious, you know. You see all these puppies on TV and their cute puppy breath and all that. And
on Instagram.
Or on Instagram, you know? They look.
The only thing they show you on Instagram is like the good parts, right?
Oh yeah, they don't show you the engine.
They don't show you the moments where you're just
Yeah. So we feel you. We know how hard it is. You are not alone. There are a lot of other people that have those same struggles, but it gets better. I promise. Especially as you stay consistent with training, when you find the right tools and products and things like that to help you train your dog, it makes a world of difference as well. It's hard now. It will get better, I promise, and I promise you're not the only one that feels that way. So just know that there are people who can commiserate with you, whether they are dealing with it now or they've dealt with it in the past with the puppy. We've had puppies before, and we know how it is. It's rough. So.
I just had like a moment of like flashback anxiety to when I had a puppy, and it was just terrifying. No,
that's hard.
I'm slightly joking, but we have had a lot of questions. It seems like in the past couple days, just about destructive behaviors. There have been pictures of a dog bed being chewed up. There was a picture, I believe, of like someone's entire carpet and the padding underneath being chewed up.
This product placement right here. Sorry, guys.
Nice.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
What is that? We'll talk about later. Just like all kinds of pictures that we've seen in the community and people talking about their dogs destroying things. So I want to just give a couple general tips about destructive behavior. Number one, first and foremost, if there's one thing you learn from this live or remember, it's exercise. And it sounds like we're beating this into the ground because we are.
It sounds like a cop-out answer a little bit, but it's not.
I mean,
Jinx.
No.
Ah! Okay.
I'm sure you've seen in your own dog the difference in their behavior on days that you exercise them well and days that you don't give them enough exercise or they're pent up too much or whatever it may be. And I just want to add a personal note from my own experience. So we have 2 yellow labs that are under the age of 2 years old, still very much in kind of puppyhood and being full of energy and being a little bit crazy. And one of the biggest changes we saw in their behavior and just their general demeanor was exercising them in the mornings. If you have a dog that is very high energy or is getting into destructive behaviors or is having really bad problems with, even anxiety or chewing or, breaking things, whatever it may be, try exercising in the morning. It may mean that you have to wake up a few minutes earlier, but it is totally worth it. I play fetch every single morning with my dogs for about 45 minutes, and they are completely different throughout the day. It makes the world of difference. Yeah. And another thought on exercise. So I was thinking about this the other day. Number one, a lot of times you think of exercise and you want to take your dog on a walk. And there's a couple challenges and kind of drawbacks with a walk as a form of exercise. In many instances, that might be what's most realistic, and that's totally okay. But you've got to keep in mind that odds are if you are trying to tire out a puppy, number one, they're not going to be very well behaved on the leash in the beginning. And so it makes it a challenge and you get frustrated and it doesn't seem like you're getting a lot of exercise. And number two, think about yourself if you were to go on a walk around your neighborhood just by yourself, your own form of exercise compared to, playing a sport where you're running sprints or running back and forth or doing, more high intensity little bursts of energy, you're going to get tired more quickly versus just going on a walk. And I think we should remember to apply those principles to our dogs as well. That's why fetch is such a great thing, and that's why Zach teaches us how to teach our dog to play fetch in the 3rd Day Perfect Pup course, because it's such a great way to get energy out, build that relationship with your dog, just have that interaction and really give them those quick bursts of sprinting to the ball, coming back, or whatever the toy is, and just really getting that energy out as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Walks are great. Whatever you can do to give them the most exercise possible, though, is always best, right? So, cool. Oh, good.
Well, do you want to go to one?
Yeah, we can cover one of these. So we covered this on the last live, actually, but we continue to have people asking about it because it is a very common problem with puppies and even with older dogs a lot of times too. And that's, how do I get my dog to stop jumping on people? So we'll walk through like the beginning steps, of how to do that. So first things first, it's easier if you do this with 2 people. So if you are there with your pup on a leash, and you invite someone else to help you, whether, it's a spouse, or if you want to take things up a notch when you're practicing, someone that they get really excited to see, like if it's a neighbor that they really love to see and they don't get to see him often, someone like that potentially. Whoever it is, 2 people get together. You'll have your puppy on a leash and start inside the house with as little distractions as possible. Remember, that's one of the big underlying principles that Zach teaches in the course and that will help you with all of your dog training is control the environment. Control the environment based on where your pup is at in their training. Once they're nailing things in a more controlled environment, then you can work up to more distracting environments. So start together with your pup on a leash in a sit-stay, sitting next to you in your home, and have the other individual approach you. When they start to approach, if the pup stands up or goes towards them at all, the person approaching needs to remove themselves from the situation. So they turn around and they head back, and you get the pup to go into a sit-stay again. What your pup wants at that point in time, their ultimate reward in that moment is they want to be able to get a pet or to interact with that other person. So what you're doing is you're saying, if when you move, when you get up, when you head towards that person, instead of letting them make the advancement into an interaction, then you don't get what you want. So it's important for that person approaching to remove themselves, to step away and step back, maybe even face the other direction. Wait till you get the pup in the sit-stay position again, and then they can approach again. And hopefully this time they'll be able to get a little bit closer to the pup as they approach. And you wait, and if the dog stands up to go and to interact with them again, same thing. Have them remove themselves from the situation, have them back away again, and the pup doesn't get what they're looking for in that case. So you continue to do that until the approaching person is able to get next to the pup, scratch them on the head or interact with them, and then you reward the pup for staying there. Plus their reward is also they get to interact with the person. So that's going to be your best approach, and that's just, it will take a lot of practice, and it's going to be all about controlling the environment at first, doing it in less distracting environments, and really helping them nail it in its simplest form like that before you start moving into things that are more difficult. It's going to be very hard for you to ask your dog to not jump on someone when they're not on a leash, when they've been wandering around the house all day, someone comes to the door and they come inside, and your pup's natural inclination is to go and jump up on them. So the goal there is that you want to be able to approach, or you want them to be able to interact with someone in the controlled environment first, and then work up towards more distracting environments.
Yeah, definitely. And one thought that I just had as you were kind of explaining that beginning process of, the person removing themselves as if the pup gets up or starts to jump or whatever, it can be nice to start this from like a good distance just to begin with. So if, for example, if you have a long hallway in your home, having the person at the one end of the hallway, you're at the other end, you get your dog into a sit and a look at me, and you're rewarding, and you're already creating that positive interaction. Just because I not to discount what you were saying, I'm just adding
in addition to,
in addition to, just because I think a lot of times when we train, we're so focused on overcoming these problem behaviors that we forget, we're really needing to teach what is correct instead of just correcting what is wrong.
Yeah.
And so I think, getting them into that sit, have the person be 15 feet away, whatever it may be, and then they come a foot closer, and you do this, they're still in the sit, you do the look at me again, you get them to do a lay down, you get them to sit back up again, and you're rewarding, you're creating this positive experience. So it's just, you're kind of just blending these positive experiences with something that, someone coming closer to them. It's all about that just positive reinforcing what you want them to do. Yeah. We have had a good amount of questions coming through here, and if we miss any of them, sorry. Sometimes the way the comments roll on these Facebook Lives, we miss some, but we had a question here from Jessica Bywater. Hello, Jessica. She asks, how can I get my dog to stop barking at other people and dogs? I'm going to make a couple guesses / assumptions that this is happening probably outside, or when you're on walks, or when you're not inside the home. Typically that's how it is. Again, making some assumptions, but I would say we've talked about this a couple times, and Zach has a couple really good videos that he's done in the past couple months even about kind of desensitizing your dogs to certain situations that quote unquote like trigger them or make them want to do a negative behavior. So for example, if you know that your dog is barking whenever they see other dogs, you can try this method. Go to a dog park, probably exercise your dog beforehand. Go to a dog park, not inside of it even, just outside of it, 30 feet away, whatever it may be. Your dog's gonna see some other dogs, they're gonna probably get a little bit antsy, a little bit excited, but just get to that threshold where you can keep their attention. Maybe it's 50 feet away, maybe it is, a whole football field away for them to be able to keep their attention on you, but that's okay. Once you can get their focus, do a couple quick behaviors, a couple skills, a lay down, a look at me, and then move a little bit closer. And you're just incrementally taking steps closer to where that stimulus is that it's causing them to bark, whether it's someone on a bike or whether it's dogs or other people. Basically, you're trying to figure out what is their threshold to, okay, at 10 feet away, they're barking at that dog, but at 15 feet, they're not. So let's keep practicing at 15 feet with these kind of focused behaviors and then slowly, gradually move forward. And it could take, it can take multiple hours of that over multiple weeks to just really help your dog understand, hey, there's other dogs, that's okay. I need to keep my focus on the human and be rewarded for that. So a lot of it is helping them understand that those other people are okay, those other dogs are okay, and finding their threshold as to where you can keep their focus and just slowly, gradually building up, or I guess, lessening the distance as well as to where you can keep their focus to where eventually, they can be interacting with another dog, running around, playing, and then, you can ask them to come to you and you can keep their focus on you. But those incremental steps is kind of the, again, general idea behind desensitizing your dog to barking at other dogs or at other people.
Yep, for sure. Real quick, I want to talk about this. This is the training starter pack. So some of you guys have it already. We have a number of people who've purchased these and are seeing a lot of good results from them. So we're just going to give you a little bit of an anatomy lesson on what's in this baby. So in these training starter packs, these are all products that Zach recommends for.
That was just an interesting way, like an anatomy. I was like,
yeah, it's like you're cutting open the frog in biology class. Did anybody actually do that? I never did that. Did you ever have to do that?
Not in highs. I don't think so.
No?
I know they do that like in college. Like if you're in a medical field, you actually dissect things. But
Tyler, did you ever cut any frogs open in high school? Never?
Nope. I think that's a myth. Maybe it's one of those
Maybe it's all
things,
made up and it's never actually happened.
or maybe it's one of those things that's like over time there was like some frog activists who just didn't like that like frogs were being cut up in classes and then it changed.
Yeah.
With
Well,
the
today's
times.
technology too. You can there's a lot you can do without
cut up
having
a
to
digital
actually do
frog.
it. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Back
that's
to
I don't know how that happened.
who knows.
Okay, so these are all Zach recommended products that he uses in the 30-day Perfect Pup training. So, one, high value reward. So we got a lot of people use these treats, and we say it every time. I know we're biased. These are awesome. They are seriously so good. Low calorie, so you can do good long training sessions without having to worry about too much calorie consumption. Super tasty for pups. They're good for all stages of life. You don't have to store them in anything special. They'll, you can keep some in your pocket, and they're great. You can also break them into smaller pieces if you need to. We recommend, and Zach recommends in his training, to incentivize a dog when you're asking them to perform a certain skill. Your treat can be as small as a grain of rice. So you can break these into smaller pieces and use that to continue to have longer and longer training sessions with your pup as they continue to learn. So you got the treats.
One thing I want to add on these treats as well.
Okay.
If you have other treats, I want you to do a little experiment and go look at the ingredients that are in them. And you may be surprised as to, number one, what is in them, and number two, how many ingredients are in those treats that you're giving to your dog constantly during these sessions. We have been doing a little bit of looking around, and it is kind of scary. Some of the most, I won't mention a brand name, but there is one brand that is very popular on Amazon and many other places that has been selling treats for a very, very long time, and one of their first few ingredients is sugar.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't terrify you...
Second ingredient is sugar.
Second ingredient, sugar. If that doesn't terrify you, I don't know what will, because...
Yeah.
Think about what sugar does. I mean, most of us generally know that, sugar isn't great for humans even, and think about sugar and going into how small of a body a dog is, and it's a little bit terrifying. And so, just so you know, I don't know, maybe you can see this. I want you to see the two ingredients that are in here. 95% freeze-dried pure beef liver and 5% pea protein. And the pea protein is in there as an antioxidant. It's in there to kind of just help hold things together and allow it to have a longer shelf life. So these are pretty much just beef liver. Yeah. So you know what you're giving your dog. You know it's healthy for them. You know it's not going to make them feel bad or have, bad digestion or just feel groggy because... just like with humans, that's what sugar and fillers and preservatives does to dogs as well. Yeah. And you want your dog to be alert and focused and, have a clear mind essentially. And that's another reason we love these treats. They are good for your dog. They
are built with a purpose.
Exactly.
And that's part of what we think is missing now in the treat industry as well. Like
Right.
you've heard our stand on food before, but also in the treat industry, you know, it's hard to know what to give your dog, how often to give it to him, if it's healthy for him or not. That's why we really love these training treats and why we built them the way that we did. Next thing is a tug toy. So a structured game of fetch with this or a game of tug of war with your dog is a great way to tire them out before a training session. Whether it's this one in the training pack or any other one, we highly recommend exercise before training because it will calm your pup down to a point where they are more willing to listen and interact with you properly. So tug toy is great. And then a 30-foot lead. So when you're teaching recall or come when called with your pup, having a 30-foot lead is invaluable for teaching that skill because it allows you to control the situation, to keep your pup safe, but it also gives you the ability to create a little bit of freedom for your dog as you're asking them to return to you when you're teaching come when called. Especially when you get into those teenage years, that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 month range.
Right.
You're going to have some pups that are going to want to run off, and that's natural. But if you have the proper training techniques, a la in the 30-day Perfect Pup course, and the proper tools, it's going to be a lot easier to train your pup to do that. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. You can buy this on the site right now. Comes in this nice fancy box, but a lot of people really love these so far, and we think they're a great tool to help you train your pup. So all tools in there that Zach recommends in the training, all tools that are highly recommended by him generally as well, and just a great way to help you improve your training sessions with your pup.
And one additional thing on the long lead, Mike mentioned recall, you know, teaching your dog to come when called outside or in distracting environments, but it's also great for a stay, because one of the behaviors that we learn in the 30-day Perfect Pup class is stay with distance. And if you're just saying, okay, stay, please, and then you're walking 20 feet off, who knows? I mean, they're puppies. They're curious. Someone might come running by, or a dog might come running by, and if you don't have them on a long lead, you're going to struggle to be able to, really keep them safe and keep control of the environment. So great tools. It was one of those things where when I was a new pup parent, I didn't even really know what a long lead is, and now that I know, it makes a world of difference. So really check those out. We've had a lot of really good questions coming in. We've got one here. Two people have kind of asked, well, there's this one from Kirsten Petrie. I believe I pronounced that correct. The question was, if my 8-month-old pup was too stressed in his first training class, PetSmart, barking, lunging the whole time, completely ignoring me in treats, should we go back? That's a good question. And it's one of those things that you're going to have to, decide for yourself if you think it's providing enough value or if it's creating just a negative situation in general. And this is just for kind of group classes as a whole. We did group classes with our 2 labs when they were younger, and I think one of our labs was a little bit too young. And, it can be tough to ask a dog to learn these new behaviors, learn these new skills in such a high distraction environment. You've got 10 to 15 or however many other dogs who are just as untrained and just as crazy probably and just as energetic as your dog. And you've got a teacher there trying to talk to 15 people and trying, it can be chaotic. And that's not to say there's not value in group classes, because there definitely is. Just know your own dog. And one other thing, like we mentioned earlier, a big difference for us when we did attend some of those group classes was having some really thorough exercise beforehand, just because, those situations, they're tough. There's so many dogs, there's so many distractions, and that's why another reason that we feel really strongly about the 30-day Perfect Pup classes, you can learn the skills that you would be getting in a group class, but you learn them in your own home, and you're able to practice them in a controlled environment where you can set your dog up for success, because that's so much of dog training is setting your dog up for success by giving them just knowing what's going to potentially cause problems for them in the beginning and avoiding that. And a lot of people will say, well, group classes are great for socialization, which is true, but there are a lot of other methods to get socialization for your dog outside of group classes. So that's just kind of my own personal experience, my own opinion. I'm sure there are other people who have less reactive dogs who have had great experiences in group classes. But at the end of the day, I think you've got to just determine, is this providing enough value, or is it turning into a negative experience in which you're getting frustrated, your dog's getting frustrated, your dog's not learning anything. Because in reality, you know, in those group classes, they're teaching you, the human, and then you're going home and teaching those concepts in most cases.
Yeah.
So there may be better ways to get some socialization for your dog. I can't say that word. But that's just my opinion. I can do it? Thanks, Mike. But again, figure out what's best for your dog. Every dog is different. Every situation is different. But that's kind of my own 2 cents and just my own experience as well.
So we got another question from Savannah Nielsen that she asked in the community. I think she's probably got a lot of... This wasn't one on a specific post about the live. This was just one from the community. So I think she's probably got some answers already. But Savannah, we'll cover it here as well. And for other people who are struggling with this also, hopefully it'll be helpful. So she said, Callie Joe is 14 weeks as of yesterday, so still a pretty young pup. And we're struggling with potty training. She goes to the bathroom every time I take her outside, and she gets lots of praise and treat. Awesome. But then we come inside, and a few minutes later, I find a spot on the floor and notice the lack of sheets on the bed. When I see her do it, I take her right outside, but we're still having problems. Any tips or advice? How long did it take your puppy, and what tricks did you use? So, a couple tips for you, Savannah. One would be 14 weeks old is super young. Still a really, really young puppy, and the biggest tip we can give is continue to control the environment. That pup is not ready for any freedom yet, really.
No.
Like they're really not ready for it, and you're kind of... It's like asking a toddler to, I don't know, walk through a butcher shop almost, where...
What? Did you
I was
just
trying
make
to
that up?
I totally did. I was trying to think of like a dangerous place.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like asking a toddler to not
to cross
go to
the
the
street by
bathroom.
themselves, or to okay, it's like taking the diaper off a toddler and asking them to walk around and not go to the bathroom on the
Oh,
floor.
that's amazing.
That was terrible. I don't know what's going on. Should I just exit stage right here?
The funniest thing is Mike has a toddler, and I just imagine him like taking his 2-year-old daughter to a butcher shop. Like,
oh man,
that's just a weird thing.
Guys, I'm gonna hang my hat up. No, so you're asking that little 14-week-old puppy to do a lot at that age. So what we recommend is control the environment. You know, crate training is hugely important in our opinion. The vast majority of dogs, 99% of them at least, should react well to a crate if you do it properly. There are unique cases where there's some separation anxiety, where there's issues and the dog has the potential to injure itself in cases like that, but it is very rare. I'm not talking, you know, all dogs will bark when you put them in there, and they'll cry, and they won't be used to it right at first. They won't be used to it, and that's normal. That's not separation anxiety. I don't want to get into diagnosing specifics on that because it's probably something that needs to take place with the trainer in person. Right. But just keep in mind, crate training is a huge and important and valuable tool for you when you have a brand new puppy. So don't be afraid to let your pup spend time in the crate. You know, after they go to the bathroom, they get rewarded, they come back in, have a little playtime, give them some crate time as well. And we have a puppy crate training schedule that's in the ebook for the course as well. So if you go look in the ebook that's provided with the course,
you can print it out, even put it on your fridge, whatever.
So that's one thing. And then if they're not in the crate, the other thing is keep them on a leash and tethered to you when you're around the house. That way, one, they're realizing they have to be accountable to someone, or at least they start to learn that. And two, you can keep them close enough that when they start to squat to go potty, or it looks like they're sniffing around a little and maybe they're going to go potty, you can grab them, you can take them outside, and they can go potty again. Going to the bathroom is super unpredictable a lot of times when there's a little puppy as well. Yeah. Sometimes you'll take them out and they'll go potty and maybe they only let half of it out. That type of stuff happens all the time. So it's really important to control the environment, keep them tethered to you. When you're wandering around the house, use crate training. The videos talk about how to effectively introduce them to their crate and utilize crate training. So we highly, highly recommend that. And crate training, when done right, it's not a punishment at all. It is a complete safe place and a den for your pup. Our dog Doris absolutely loves her crate. Yeah. We'll leave the door wide open all day long, and she'll go in and out of there. Sometimes during the day, if she wants to just take a break, she'll go in there and she'll lay in her crate and just hang out there for a while. So
read a book.
Yep. She'll read her little dog book. Yep.
She'll read Zach's book.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Exactly. No, she'll sorry. Big dog training revolution aficionado. She is. If you haven't got Zach's book, go to Amazon and get it. It's another really, really awesome resource for you guys in addition to the training. But so control the environment, utilize crate training, utilize keeping them on a leash, be patient. 14 weeks, like I said, it's really young, and your pup's going to take some time to learn. So it's going to take till a few months till they're really starting to understand, potty training and all that. It's okay that they're having accidents now. It's totally normal, and it happens.
Well, and additionally to all the great points that Mike had, if you realize, like, if it's happening often where you take them out, they go to the bathroom, you praise them, you reward them, you bring them back in, and then they're immediately going, maybe consider right when you come back in only having them in a spot that you're okay if they do go to the bathroom. Maybe it's a tiled area. Maybe, it's a place that's easy to clean up if it's happening consistently like that. Yeah. But overall, above all, stay patient, continue with the schedule, that type of thing.
Yep.
We had some other questions come in here. There was one specifically. So there's one from Jocelyn Walford, which was also someone, Kim replied and said, same here to Jocelyn's comment. And Jocelyn's comment was, tips for leash reactivity. Taking my dog outside stresses both of us out. So super common. And we've talked about this a little bit before. And some of the principles we've even talked about in this live, like what I talked about earlier about going to finding a distance from whatever's making them react. So if your dog is consistently reacting to other dogs or just people that walk by or cars maybe, go to a park, have them on a leash. For example, if it's cars, go to a park, have them on a leash, where you're 30, 50 feet away from the cars, and basically find that threshold to where they will focus on you. And as you're there, or wherever the farthest distance away is, or closest distance rather, that they'll actually focus on you, do a little quick training session, and then just move a couple feet closer and do some little quick behaviors. Do the look at me, do a lay down, do a leave it. And then if they're still focusing on you, even with cars driving by, go a little bit closer. So it's kind of that, helping them understand that these things that are making them react are okay, and you can associate it with positive things, and just slowly, incrementally work up to them being focused on you. And if it's specifically happening on a leash, my youngest lab, her name's Scout, she's still pretty reactive from time to time. One big thing that has been huge for us with just like general leash behavior and leash reactivity is practicing the leash behavior in a less distracting environment. Just like with any other behavior that you're going to teach your dog, you don't jump right out into the eye of the storm, essentially. You want to start with...
The eye's calm.
You don't want to step right out into the hurricane of the storm. Is it...
Yeah, the eye's calm, man. You want to be in the eye of the storm, because then you're like, oh, okay, good. The storm's
I meant the eye of the tiger.
Well, good for you.
Don't throw your dog into the eye of the tiger. No, but you want to start in a less distracting environment. Even with leash training, he's singing Eye of the Tiger. I don't know if you can hear that. And with that, we're going to end this. Oh,
sorry.
I'm just kidding. So yeah, it may sound weird, but start leash training your dog inside your house. Even if you have a small space, an apartment or whatever, just walking back and forth on the leash, rewarding when they're paying attention to you, rewarding when you have them on a leash and you can get them into a sit and a look at me. And then when they're really getting it down, step up to a less controlled environment, but a still not very distracting environment. Like, for example, a backyard where they're still familiar with it, or maybe it's, your front yard or your driveway or whatever it is, somewhere where they're still kind of familiar with it and there's not as many distractions, and really work on that. Some of the best results I've seen for helping with my pups' reactivity and overall leash behavior has been doing these leash training exercises essentially in our backyard, because there's still noises that are happening. We have dogs literally around our entire backyard on every side. There's different things that are happening. There are, cars driving by, there's people outside doing yard work, whatever it may be, but it's still a less distracting environment than just walking around our neighborhood. And it's been a lot easier for us to keep her attention. And you mentioned that they kind of go treat blind, where they won't even focus in on a treat. It might be something else then. There's a lot of people who have learned that, you might need to use a toy. or you might need to use a ball or something. You know, for my dog Scout, like she's way more toy and fetch driven than she is food driven. And so, you know, sometimes I'll do training sessions with her ball, and I'll, you know, get her to do a sit and a stay, and I'll walk away, and then I get her to come, and I reward her with a little toss of the ball and her getting to play fetch. There's a lot of different kind of techniques that you can use, but the general idea for the reactivity is, you know, start inside, start with a less distracting environment, and then slowly, incrementally move yourself closer to those distractions that are causing your dog to bark or lunge or go crazy, basically.
Yep. Huge underlying principle. Control the environment, start where it's easier, work up to more difficult environments. It'll make a huge difference. So, really quick question. Someone named Darthus in the community, he said, just got this guy. It was a picture, he posted a picture with this cute pup too.
Oh yeah.
He said he was born 11/2/18, Siberian Husky, named him Apollo. I hope he does not eat my couch, which happens so many times with puppies. I am crate training him to prevent that for now, though. Nice work, Darthus. We're huge fans of crate training, like we said a minute ago. Should I start the 30-day program with him yet? So our opinion is start training right away. Whether we feel the 30-day Perfect Pup is the perfect way to start, but whatever training you're going to do, start right away for a couple reasons. One, pups can start learning that early.
Yep.
They're able to learn super young. And then two, it's a great way to establish a super strong bond with your pup. Training is.
Yeah.
So it'll help you in not just in helping them behave better, but also it'll help them learn to trust you and to understand you. It'll improve your communication. So we recommend starting right away.
Yeah.
And it's the same whether it's a teeny puppy or like an older dog as well that you're still trying to establish trust with. Mm-hmm. Training will help immensely when you're working to establish trust. If you get a shelter dog that you're fostering or that you've adopted, it'll make a big difference. So don't wait or don't waste time in training. Get started right away.
And a note on when you are training really young puppies, like when you first bring them home, or even again with rescues who are new to the environment, it's okay if your training session only lasts literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That is fine. Don't get hung up on, I need a 30-minute session. The time is not important. What's important is that you are being consistent with the training, and you are being two types of consistency. Number one, like you're doing it, every single day and throughout the day, and number two, that you're just being consistent with how you're rewarding and what you're training them to do. So, yeah, don't get hung up on the numbers. I mean, if your training session lasts 2 minutes and then your dog just wants to smell everything and wander around for 10 minutes, great. That's fine. That's not a problem. And then bring them back for another 2-minute session. Mm-hmm. Don't get hung up on the numbers. Even the little steps are success. So just, start now. Yeah. Start whenever.
So Kenneth Spader, am I reading that right? Kenneth Spader said, thoughts on flirt poles. We like flirt poles. They're a great way to exercise your pup, especially when, this time of year, a lot of places in the United States at least are really chilly. So if you can't get outside for as much exercise as you want to, it's just a little too brisk, a flirt pole is an excellent way to continue to help your pup exercise inside and outside. So we're big fans of it. We wouldn't recommend you just leave it with them and let them chew on any parts or pieces of it. It's not built for that. In addition to that, they're going to be more excited about it if they don't have it all the time. Mm-hmm. So put the pole away when you're not using it. But when you are using it, it'll be, and then when you are using it, it'll be a lot more exciting for them. So big fans of flirt poles. Don't yank on it too much with your dog or anything like that if they have their mouth on it or anything like that. But generally, it's an excellent way to exercise your pup indoors, especially when the weather's a little bit chilly like it is in so many places right now.
I kind of missed the beginning. I was reading a comment. Did you explain what a flirt pole is?
Oh, no, I didn't.
So for those who don't know what a flirt pole is, you probably kind of saw the motions he was doing, and if you don't know what it is, it was probably really confusing.
What is this dude doing?
He's doing wand tricks.
Yeah.
Harry Potter. That was dumb of what I just said. That's all right, though. Carry on. So it's basically a pole, and it'll have like kind of a long string on the end, and then a toy, like almost not like a tug toy necessarily, but
it's like a fishing pole almost.
Yeah, kind of like a little
kitty fishing pole.
Yeah, and a lot of them will use. They're kind of, some people use them for cats as well. Cats like to run back and forth and chase the things, but it's a great option for people who struggle with biting as well, just because it gives you that chance to still interact with your dog and have some play and have that kind of bonding experience without being right there in the thick of it where their mouth is trying to bite your hand off. So check out flirt poles. We'll probably drop a link so you can we'll drop a link to one on Amazon so you can get a better idea of what we're talking about and even get one for yourself. Really great tool to have. You were about to say something?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was considering it.
We had Jeanette Dyer here who said, Molly went through the 30-day Perfect Pup at 8 weeks old.
Nice.
That's awesome to hear. Hope you had a good experience. We had another question in here. It was from an earlier post.
It's probably our last one.
Yeah, this will probably be one of our last ones. Again, if we miss your question, we apologize. We'll probably try and get to it after. So this has been a question that we've seen a lot of. There's a lot of differing opinions. Jennifer Jackson asked, how do you guys feel about dog parks? I've taken Jax and he loves it, but I want to know what other people think of them. I'm kind of nervous it might spread infections because his stomach has been upset for the past few days. So again, a lot of differing opinions. Another kind of like precursor to what I'm about to say is, in this community, the Perfect Pup community, we have people from all over. We literally have people from the four corners of the earth. And dog parks are different everywhere you go. Dog park rules, regulations, the way people interact, it's all different.
Even different places in the United States.
Yeah.
Dog parks here are different than dog parks all over the country. So.
Exactly. Like our local dog park is just one dog park, whereas some other ones you've got a small park and a big park for small dogs and big dogs. So that would be one thing, just to kind of, the point with that is, again, kind of figure out what works best for your dog. Some dogs may just get overwhelmed by dog parks. The potential risks, I guess you could say, of a dog park is you don't know how everyone else acts with their dog. You don't know how their dogs act. You don't know what type of training methods that they've employed with their dogs that may be, kind of negative or not up to the standards that we believe in. So it's just something to be aware of. And if you are concerned, I would recommend, going to the park. If you want to try it out, go at a time, number one, where there's not a lot of people there. It's still good, at least in the beginning, for your dog to just get acclimated and kind of get the smells of that area and be able to understand it. And it's not as busy, because it's a lot easier to kind of keep your hands and be in control of what's happening if there's only, a handful of dogs compared to Saturday afternoon when there's probably 30 dogs in the dog park. Yeah. It can be a little bit chaotic. Yeah. That would be one of my big pieces, because we've had some not great experiences at dog parks personally, but we've also had some really good experiences when we go at kind of the quieter times and it's just a handful of people. You can have that more one-on-one interaction with the owner and with the dogs, and just be able to be in a little bit more control of the situation.
Yeah, so it's hard to make like the hard and fast recommendation on it, I guess. Just kind of be careful with them whenever you're there. When you are introducing to the dog, it may even be worth keeping your dog on the leash a little bit while you're in the dog park to kind of let them familiarize if they've never been before. Definitely try to get to know the other owners there as well, and that'll give you a picture of kind of how things are looking at the park too. So we would just say they can be great, but also be very careful with them too.
And maybe read up a little bit. We can try and find some good links for you of learning, dog's body language, so you can be kind of aware of when things might be your dog might be getting overwhelmed or anxious, those types of things. And additionally, if you're looking for it for the socialization and
that word again,
the socialization and kind of like exercise of your dog, there's a lot of alternatives that are really great. Probably I could go out on a limb and say most people watching this, wherever you live, there's some type of like local dog community of people who do meetups or go on hikes or, have little puppy play dates or whatever it is. So there are a lot of alternatives if you're not interested in the dog park side of things.
And honestly, wherever possible, that would probably be our bigger recommendation too, is more controlled environments like that, where if you have a friend or you're meeting new friends, go with them to have puppy play dates, or if you have open areas nearby, like here in Utah, we've got the mountains very close. Go with a friend and their pup and your pup up into the mountains to do something there, or wherever you can control the environment in that type of a scenario. If it's in smaller groups in a backyard or places like that, that would probably be our first recommendation for socialization. And then, yeah, if some people don't have that opportunity, and that's okay, and that's where a dog park might make more sense there. But
yeah, and again, sorry if we missed any of your questions. We will try to get to them after, but we're just about out of time. But just want to say again that we love this community. We are so excited to be a part of it and to just be able to meet you guys and hear all your guys' funny stories, because I kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, that, you know, puppyhood is very, very difficult. It is a very trying time, but just like with a lot of difficult things or stressful things, lots of times you're going to look back and even see your own posts within the community and be like, oh wow, I thought puppy biting was going to be the end of me, and here I am 2 months later, and it's perfect, or maybe not perfect, but it's going great type of thing. So we love that aspect of just, you know, people being in the community, being positive with each other, helping each other out, giving each other feedback in, you know, a positive and kind way, just because those things go really far. We don't know everyone's situation. We don't know where they're coming from, what their background is, the dog's background is. So we just really appreciate when people give everyone the benefit of the doubt and just do our best to help each other learn, help each other, you know, understand the science-based training methods more fully and just more completely.
Yeah, it's kind of cool thinking about that, just the interaction of the group. We've got a pretty diverse group of people from a lot of different countries, but it's cool to see that the one thing that brings everybody together is their pups. So just healing the world one pup at a time, right?
You should trademark that.
We'll consider it. Anyway, thanks everybody for being with us. Thanks for your participation in the community. Thanks for taking part in the course that Zach has put together. Guys, and last pitch on this. If you haven't signed up for the actual course at pupford.com/training, go and do it now. You're doing yourself a huge
I'm gonna put
disservice.
that in the comments.
In the comments, yeah. You're doing yourself a huge disservice by not going and actually signing up for that, because that's where you get access to the videos, that's where you get access to the ebook, that's where you get information on all the steps that you need to take to get the very most out of this course. So go do it right now. Zach put a ton of time and effort into putting all this together. And it is a truly phenomenal resource. Yeah, this free course, we feel, is as good as anything paid you're going to find online. Yep. So go utilize it to its fullest. But anyway, thanks for being in the community. Thanks for participating and for interacting with each other. And you know, we just really appreciate all you guys, and we're glad to be able to get to know you guys a little bit better. And if there's anything we can do, in the footer of our website, you can text us, you can call us. You can send us a message on Facebook. You can send us a contact form. You can email us.
You can DM us on Instagram.
DM us on Instagram. Yeah, whatever it is.
Chat us on the website. I mean, we try to be as accessible as possible. Doesn't mean you're getting an answer within 2 seconds, but we do always try to be as accessible as possible and, you know, give you the best resources and help that we can. And we, like we said, just like with the community, we love talking to you guys. We love getting to know you more. So we are always open to you guys contacting us and even just telling us about your dog if you want to. Sending us pictures of your cute pups. I'm not opposed to that.
No one will complain about that.
We are always open to
Keep
that.
them coming. Okay. Thanks
again,
guys.
See ya.